All right, welcome to the newest episode of Herbie Sports Talk. I am Tyler, Big Herbie Herbach, across the table, as always.
Travis, Little Herbie Herbach.
There it is.
Nailed it.
Thank you guys for joining in with us this week. We got a few topics we got to hit. There's a lot going on.
Yep.
NFL released the schedule. We had a pretty cool MMA fight this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But where we're going to start is the NBA, because the playoffs start in 1 week. The playing games start on Tuesday, so that's what we got to hit. Everything got solidified tonight or earlier today.
2 hours ago.
A couple hours ago were the final game. So let's jump right into that. Let's go ahead and go to the East. And so for the playing games, you have Boston versus Washington in the 7-8 game, and Indiana versus Charlotte in the 9-10.
Yep.
Now the way this is the playing games are working.
Let's explain it, who's getting in and how they get in.
Yeah. So the winner of 7-8 becomes the 7th seed in the playoffs. That's done. The loser of that game will play the winner of the 9-10 game, and then the winner of that game gets the 8 seed. So you gotta win it. Basically, if you're 7 or 8, you have to win 1 game. If you're 9-10, you have to win 2 games.
Yep.
Simple enough. So let's go ahead and start there. We have Boston versus Washington. Where are you feeling on this matchup?
See, you should lean Boston, right? Like we've said it, we talked about it. And the talent is there, the experience is there, the head coaching is there in terms of all the levels above the Wizards, right? The only talent. You take Westbrook and you take Bradley Beal, and they probably match together. Tatum and Jaylen Brown put together.
But
right?
Jaylen Brown's done. He's out for the season.
Well,
That's why. That's why.
Rain on my parade.
Yeah, I'd be with you. If
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown plays in this game, was playing, I would take the Celtics away. But because he's out for he's not even be in the playoffs. He tore a ligament in his wrist. He just had surgery, so he's done.
That's right. I did forget about that.
So with that being the case, I'm going to take Washington in the upset.
You don't think Jason Tatum can carry?
I think he can, but I don't. But I think
not for 4 wins or 1 win. Excuse me.
No, I think it's just Russell. I think is going to be on such a different level. Like he's been playing so crazy, especially recently. I mean, obviously he averaged triple-double for the 4th time in 5 seasons.
Ridiculous.
He's playing out of his mind, and the thing is too, when he does get triple-doubles, they win. He has.
Oh, his win percentage in terms of whenever he gets triple,
60%.
It's ridiculous.
It's really high. So I mean, I just think that he's not going to let them lose.
Right.
And the way he plays, I think he can carry his team to victory.
That and you have Bradley Beal too. The two combined, they combined for 80 points just 2 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago. So if they even get close to that, if they Russ does triple double, the win percentage is there. Bradley Beal puts up 25 to 30, and they put together 50 to 60 to maybe 65-ish points. Jaylen Brown's gonna have to put up 35, 40 more than likely.
Tatum.
Damn it, Tatum. Sorry, I don't know why. I was thinking Tatum the whole way too. In my mind, words don't count. He'll have to put up 35, 40, and he'll have to carry it immensely.
The biggest thing is that now with Brown out, he needs a running mate, and you can't rely on Kemba doing that because Kemba's been up and down all season.
He's been really washy since he got to the Celtics.
Yeah, I mean, I know he had the knee injury, and he's clearly not fully. I can't. Obviously, he's fully healthy, but I don't know. Maybe it's a mental thing for him. He's just been very up and down, very inconsistent. So yeah, I'm gonna take Washington in the upset.
Yeah. I could definitely lean Washington just because since it's not a 7-game series, it's just that 1 game. It's just a regular night game, so you never know what can pop off, and the adjustments got to be super fast. I think as another point though, I think the only way that Celtics do have a legitimate chance of securing the victory, as most people would assume that they can, is that Marcus Smart's shut down Bradley Beal. He's not gonna shut down Westbrook. Westbrook's way too fast for him.
Yeah.
Bradley Beal, he's more of a shooter, more of a pump and take type of guy. Westbrook is all over the place.
Westbrook has more energy than most teams do combined.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I don't know where he has all this energy and his heart and his hustle. It's crazy, but he's full go.
Yeah.
From tip off to the final buzzer. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I've never seen. Can't remember ever seeing anybody, past or present, ever play with his kind of energy night in, night out. Never like give up on a single play.
Just like the amount of energy, the motor he has, like he doesn't slow down. There's one thing, like you said, like MJ with the intensity, Kobe with the intensity,
right?
LeBron always being there for the most part of his entire career. Those are all the same. They're not the same as the amount of high energy level he plays with.
Right. Yeah. It's not like we're saying that he's better than him, but it's just like he just never stops moving.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy how much energy he's always playing with.
Yeah. So then if Mark Smart doesn't shut down Bradley Beal, and then it's a 2v1 versus the two of the pair of them versus Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're kind of screwed. So I kind of lean Washington now too.
I think missing Jaylen Brown is just such a big issue. I think
he's such a good two-way player for them.
Mm-hmm.
He's like him on Westbrook. Even though Westbrook's so immensely faster than him, the amount of size he carries over Westbrook, the length, the height, that'll still hurt Westbrook.
Yeah, I think Jaylen Brown is more important to the Celtics than Jason Tatum is. I think, I'm not saying he's better than Jason, but I think he's more important to the team because of his two-way presence.
Yeah, because Tatum's not a bad defender by any means, but he's not a lockdown defender.
Mm.
He doesn't have the size presence or the strength presence as Brown does either.
Exactly. So
yeah, God, I wish it was a 7-game series because it'd probably go 7.
Oh yeah, it'd be fun. I think it'd be a fun series.
But yeah, okay, I'm gonna lean Wizards. That's sucks though to see the Celtics not make playoffs. It really does.
Yeah, you're a Boston boy.
I'm a Boston fanboy from a long ways away.
Yeah. But unfortunately for whoever does win this game, though, they get to immediately go in and play the Nets in the first round of the playoffs. So their playoff is probably short-lived.
Either way, they're not going to have a fun time.
Yeah. All right, so then let's go to our 9-10 matchup. You have Indiana versus Charlotte. This is...
Oh, God.
Does anyone actually even want to watch this damn game?
No. No, why would you? The only thing you're going to watch this game for is probably LaMelo Ball. He's probably the one person in both teams that's super attached and attractive to go watch play. Because he's got an interesting play style. He's really electric. He's got good playmaking style. He's young. He's outgoing.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly looks like he's going to be a star in this league.
Yeah. Well, I think it's funny that his own dad, LeVar Ball, said that all the guys, that LaMelo probably has the biggest future in the NBA.
Yeah.
Out of all three sons.
Yeah, I can see. I mean, he certainly seems like he's the better player of the three. Obviously, the one's not even in the NBA. He barely.
He's overseas still.
Yeah, he made the Lakers G League team at one point. But that's it.
But I mean, the skill set he has is his body size, the shaping.
He's more well rounded.
Yeah.
Lonzo can't shoot.
Yeah, Alonso's just the bigger, slower guy, too, just naturally.
Right.
So, the only reason you watch this game in general is if you're either a hometown fan of the two teams or you want to see LaMelo. But in terms of the matchup, because it's only one game, it's not a series like we've been saying, I take Pacers because they're how big they are.
Right.
Their size and their strength is ridiculous. They're going to pound the Hornets.
Yeah, I mean, you have Miles Turner and Sabonis down low.
The Hornets can't keep up with that size and that pressure.
Yeah, no, that's true. Plus, Karis LeVert is playing really well. Since he finally came back, he had that medical issue where he was out all year. Leading up to he just came back a couple weeks ago, and he's come out and played really, really well. Especially since they've been missing a lot of play. Like Malcolm Brogdon's missed time recently.
Right.
Sabonis missed time recently, so he's really stepped up, and he's shown what he showed for the Nets last season. That he can be a go-to scorer in this league.
Yeah, he played great for the Nets when they had nothing. He was the star in Brooklyn last year. So yeah, I take Pacers. Their strength, their size. The Hornets are a small team. They're also a young team. They're not a very physical team as far as I can see.
Right. Yeah, this one's a little tough. I think I'm gonna go with Indiana too, and their size is gonna be. You're right. It's gonna be a major difference. I just think they have probably the overall more talent.
Yeah.
At the moment, I think Charlotte is going to be a team that you're just going to have to kind of reckon with in the next couple of years. When they, LaMelo matures a little more, they have Scary Terry there still.
Right.
Obviously Gordon Hayward. That team's going to become better. They just need more pieces.
They need more pieces. They need a big man for sure.
Yeah.
And Gordon Hayward, who knows? He's definitely on the back half of his career. So even in 2 or 3 years, he might be done. Where LaMelo's and them or Scary Terry are really in their prime.
Right.
If they're still, combined as a teammates there. So, future-wise, Hornets look good, but Pacers, I think, are just going to be overwhelming in physicality.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, I'll be completely honest with you, I'll be rooting for the Pacers anyways, just because Sabonis is on the team.
Yeah, hometown dude.
Yeah. So, all right. So that leads us to then who's going to get the 8 seed. We got that'd be Boston against Indiana. Interesting matchup. Indiana, their size is still going to absolutely play because Boston doesn't have a true center.
No, they don't. They've always been small at center.
Yeah, I mean the only guy they have down low of any size is they have Taco Fall, but like he barely plays.
Yeah.
Robert Williams barely plays. The only big man of consequence that gets any real minutes is Tristan Thompson.
And he's still solid. He's not what obviously he's in his back half of his career as well.
Right, but
he's still solid.
I mean, he got LeBron got him paid, but but other than that, like he's just a good rebounder. Other than that, he gives you very little elsewhere. He's not a good rim protector.
Yeah.
He's not an offensive scorer. He's a rebounder.
Oh, he's a pure rebounder. Definitely does not have much skill set that actually helps the team in a general sense.
So, and I mean, he's not. I mean, I think either way. I mean, whether he guards Sabonis or Miles Turner, he's gonna get beat up on.
Oh, especially Miles Turner.
Well, yeah,
Sabonis is a good flex 4. He can pop out and a decent mid range.
Yeah, but Turner actually hits threes. He pops up the court.
Turner's a big boy.
Yeah, I mean they let Sabonis work more from the block than Turner does, just because he's better skilled down there.
His
than
footwork is amazing.
So I don't know. It just seems that way, and if that's the case, honestly, I'm kind of leaning towards Indiana on this one.
Yeah, this is the big man who make it tough for Tatum to kind of get into the hole, make passing opportunities, or even get easy buckets. The only thing I worry about with Pacers now, because now you're talking more, can your backcourt keep up? Because I mean, this Pacers are the lesser skilled in that area.
Right.
Even with Jaylen Brown being hurt, they're still lesser skilled backcourt wise versus Boston there.
Yeah, I mean, you're certainly not wrong.
So who knows? I mean, all you need is for Tatum and Kemba to put up, 6 to 8 three-pointers made, and that resets the whole game, because that's not the Pacers' skill set.
Right. Yeah, it could be. I don't know. I guess I'm not a big Boston fan or believer this year. I should say fan, but believer. They've shown so. Like such a little fight. It seems like for a lot of the year. They just kind of like wilt away. Yeah,
it's like their will to win has always seemed wish-washy.
Right.
Their mentality seems to break really easily, almost. And it's very interesting.
They don't have that. I mean, they have Marcus Smart, who...
He's the heart. He's the grit.
Yeah, for sure. But he's the only one. I don't think they have anybody else who can give you that.
Not that.
Especially with Jaylen Brown out. Jaylen Brown is probably your number 2 guy in that category. He's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think part of that, and it's, more of a tangent really, is that Brad Stevens' coaching style is very reserved, very calm, very relaxed. It seems like he's not.
He's certainly a more steady demeanor.
He's not like a Tom Thibodeau going out screaming on the court. He doesn't bring the intensity.
Right.
Yeah. So that also affects teams too. We got to realize
someone's got to bring it though.
Yeah, I don't know. Pacers come out. The Pacers smack the Hornets, and they come out all fiery and pissed. And against that Boston team, and just again play extremely physical, play NBA style playoff basketball.
Right.
The physical, the rebounding, go hurt them early on type of thing. Boston's will to win, might break.
Yeah, it very well could. So where are you going then? You taking Indiana or Boston?
I'll take Indiana. I'll take Indiana on the upset on that one.
All right, so there you have it. We got Washington and Indiana making it into the first round of the playoffs. Winning these playing games, it's gonna be interesting. Again, I mean, they still become the 7-8 seed. They still have to go and then play Philly or Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So I mean, the chances of them pulling off that kind of upset in a 7-game series is very, very, very slim.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that goes. But all right, so Washington, Indiana, these for us.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the West. The West has obviously the most tantalizing game possible in the playing games.
Yeah.
We get the Lakers and the Warriors.
Game's gonna be absolute fire.
Oh my God! You got LeBron versus Steph. We can bring that rivalry back. I know it's new teams, but who cares?
Yeah.
Like the rivalry's coming back. Obviously the Lakers. No one ever thought the Lakers would even be in this position when the season started.
Well, it's crazy. I mean, 20 games ago, they were in the 4 seed.
Well, when your two best players, miss 20 and 30 games apiece.
Yeah.
Like in the back half of the season, you're gonna end up losing quite a few games.
Yeah.
The fact that honestly, the fact that how many games they won without them on the floor was honestly impressive in its own.
Yeah, true. I mean, they held it down enough.
Right.
Just enough. Barely enough, but just enough.
Just enough, yeah. So it'll be interesting. So let's go ahead and start with the Lakers-Warriors game. Obviously, in a single game situation as this is, someone like Steph Curry can absolutely win this game by himself.
Yeah, I mean, he puts up 50 again, and AD has a shit night, and LeBron can't carry.
Right.
Then I mean, yeah, you have a last second kind of game on your hand there.
For sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, Steph goes for 40, 45 and drops 10 threes.
Yeah.
And this game's gonna be different.
Yeah. The only issue is like now that LeBron came back and him and AD both went off. They played great. They looked great. The offense was flowing how we saw prior to injuries.
Right.
And so it's like, and for the Warriors, we talk about Steph Curry all day. Outside of Steph Curry, they have nothing.
Right.
They basically have nothing.
Yeah. Draymond's still doing his triple-double thing. Like, he makes an impact.
He gets 10, 10, 10.
Yeah.
But, like, who's going to guard AD for the Warriors? Draymond can't keep up with them. He's like a grandpa trying to chase him around.
Yeah, I don't know if they have another option.
They don't. I mean, their center is not strong enough, and he's been injured on and off all season. Who knows if he's going to play minutes?
I don't believe he is.
And to be honest with you, I don't know any other guy that has size on that team right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a Steph or bust.
And even if it's a Steph, even if he does put up 45, 50, LeBron and AD can go for 60 combined.
That's true.
And you have an actual team around the Lakers. So it might be amazing. We're going to see Steph do Steph things, and it's going to be spectacular to see. But I don't see the Warriors doing anything else to actually win the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to take the Lakers. Obviously, I would take the Lakers regardless, even if they weren't my favorite team, just because they are the better team, obviously, than Golden State.
Yeah.
I do have a little concern, though. LeBron did finally come back again today, but in the game, it looked like he might have tweaked that ankle again. Vogel says he's good to go.
LeBron's not going to miss the playoff game.
Yeah, of course he's not. It's one of those things, like, this ankle with LeBron is very weird. He's come back. This is the second game he's come back, and apparently this is the second time he's tweaked it. Because he tweaked it in his first game back when he tried to come back the first time.
Which weird because he rolled on the inside part of his ankle,
right.
Not the outside, which is all the common area, right?
Right, and that's probably why. It's such a weird...
It's so interesting to think about, in a physical standpoint, how you step and how you move, how it affects that inside area.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't have any experience in that side of injuries or even.
Yeah, I've definitely never
body.
rolled the inside of my ankle. That's not an easy.
So I have no idea. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it has a lot to do with like a nerve.
Right.
Maybe that nerve keeps hitting something, or it got could have been potentially cut, or it's being pushed on by whoever knows.
Right.
Years of damage.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's definitely weird. But yeah, Lakers probably taking this. I hope they do.
Yeah.
So, and they'll go in and they get to play the 2-seeded Suns if they win, which I'm sure the Suns are not liking in any way.
No, but if you have a 50-50 healthy LeBron,
right,
in a 7-game series, the Suns have an opportunity to actually pull that series out.
Could be. I mean, hey, the Suns are they've played really well this year. Chris Paul should probably get a little more consideration for the MVP at this point with what he's done helped with his team. But yeah, that's a debate for a different day. Let's move on to the 9-10 seed. So we have Memphis versus San Antonio.
Another game that, does anybody care to watch?
Right, except for the people within.
I said it John Morant and J. Cole saying I'm on my Grizzly. Doesn't matter, does that game matter at all?
Right. I mean, Memphis should take this. I mean, there's a major difference between these two teams. The West is really hard. Everyone's above 500 that's in the playoffs or in the plans, except for San Antonio. San Antonio actually finished the season 5 games back from Memphis.
Jeez.
That's a lot. Like in the end, that's a lot.
That's a hefty.
It's just, I mean, and I know, the Grizzlies are young, and you're going up against Pop, and Pop's probably gonna come up with some
Crazy game plan.
some game plan to like stop Ja Morant, but Memphis is just a better team.
This is more talent. Like the Spurs, like they have DeMar DeRozan, and he has since the moment he left Toronto, he's not been good. Like he's like for the Spurs, he's the star, but in terms of the league, he's no longer like he's not looked at as that star mode like he was in Toronto.
His mid-range game is still crazy though. He's money from 15 to 17 feet. It's crazy.
That is true. That's his bread and
He's
butter.
also, but going down to San Antonio, has also opened up his playmaking. He's in his 12th or 13th season, and he's averaging the highest amount of assists per game he's ever averaged by a lot, actually, by like 2 or 3 more assists per game.
Oh yeah, and that's Greg Popovich's system. I mean, he's a guy in practice. You better pass the ball 7 times before a shot goes up. We're throwing that back.
Old school.
Yeah, I'm sure, and it works though. Always you find you the open guy as long as you have players that know how to pass and can use their court vision. Right. But they just don't have talent, and they're also old. That roster is extremely old for the majority of the. Yeah, I mean,
except for a couple like DeJounte Murray. Who can be really good. He's very injury prone, it seems like, though he's hurt, it seems, every year. I mean, I'm pretty sure their second leading scorer on this team is actually Rudy Gay, who I didn't even realize was actually still in the league.
Yeah, he's another guy that you just don't ever hear about.
And him and DeMar DeRozan are like the same player, too. They both strive in the mid-range and don't play a lot of defense.
Rudy Gay is a lockdown defender.
Not anymore.
Well, not anymore, because he's old. But either way, Grizzlies, Ja Morant does whatever he needs to do, and they win that game. I don't see the Spurs doing much.
Yeah, neither do I. So that puts us at Golden State versus Memphis to get the 8 seed then.
This one is the one I take Steph over. Right. Because this one is you're taking Steph or Ja, and that's not a debate here.
Right, yeah. And it's still Steve Kerr who, yeah.
Steve Kerr is an absolute monster in terms of his ability in playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, and Draymond will be hyped up for it. They're just Steph. It's one of those things that doesn't seem like it won't be a game that Steph allows them to lose.
Yeah, Steph will carry it on their back to win that game.
Right, and he might put up 60 doing it.
He probably would.
So
he is the scoring champ after all.
Yeah, shout out to that, by the way. He's the second player ever to win the scoring title after the age of 33.
Wow. The only person was Michael.
Yeah, the only person to do it was Michael Jordan.
And yeah, true.
That's crazy. That's big. I mean, I just don't know what else to say about Steph in this season.
It's Steph Curry, parentheses, greatest shooter of all time, end parentheses. That's all this.
Oh yeah, and there's no debating that though.
No, but there's some people that will try to. In our minds, there's no debating it. But there is people that are he's the greatest 3-point shooter, but not the greatest shooter. It's
what? Stop.
You don't spend enough time on Twitter, right?
Yeah, it's probably true.
Twitter is the place where you hear the most ridiculous shit.
Dumb arguments. Come on, even the best shooter of all time, Reggie Miller and Ray Allen have come out and said that he's the greatest shooter of all time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not gonna listen to Joe Blow on Twitter when I got all timers telling me that Steph Curry's better.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it at that. Other cool tidbit from the NBA today: Kyrie Irving became only the 9th player ever to average a 50, 40, 90 season for shooting percentages.
And he only played half the season.
Yeah, so that probably helped.
Yeah.
Or it could have hurt him. But either way, 50, 40, 90 is not something to that is not easy.
It's a legit accomplishment regardless of games played.
Oh yeah, it really is. Like I said, only the 9th player ever to do it. His teammate KD's done it, I think, twice.
Yeah.
I know Steph's done it once or twice. Sure. So, but that is not an easy thing to do by any means.
No, that's legit. This is legit player with real skills and real talent. And playmaking ability to know when to shoot, when to not shoot, when to pass.
Right.
Things like that, and to get into the right spot at the right time.
For sure, yeah. It's definitely, and it's actually surprising that you hear that from Kyrie, because he seems to be the guy who always likes to take the really hard shot. Like he has no issues. Like if he makes a bad decision in putting up a shot.
Right.
Granted, if it's by the rim, it's probably going in anyways because he's probably the best finisher in the NBA still.
His backward game is ridiculous. So. So we take Warriors over the Grizzlies then.
Yes.
So we got LA coming in at 7, Warriors coming in at an 8 seed for the West.
Yep.
So that will be playoffs right there. Then next weekend we got full 7-game series ready to roll.
Yeah, playing games are Tuesday and Wednesday. The first round of playoffs actually starts next Saturday on the 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll do our next episode next Sunday night, and we'll jump right into the playoffs there and give you our predictions. Look forward to that predictions next week.
Yeah, we're gonna go a full NBA prediction here.
Yep, for sure. So, in other news though, let's change sports here. Let's get to the
sound like a damn news channel. In other news, breaking news.
Let's get to our beloved NFL.
Yeah.
The NFL, they always are in the news cycle, even though there's no reason that they should be, but they are because people love it, and they announced the schedule on Wednesday.
Right.
We did up until this point we already knew the opponents, but they did release when these games are being played. So there's quite a few interesting games, but let's kind of just kind of jump into these. Where do you see kind of like who has like a tough stretch of games versus easy stretches of games? Like what do you kind of see?
Well, okay, so let's start with the easy here. Let's start with the reigning champs, considering they have the second easiest schedule. They have a 45.1 combined win percentage versus teams of last year. So, like, if you guys don't know, strength of schedule goes off of teams' winning percentage of prior year.
Right.
So their teams last year, they had a combined 45% win percentage. Could be totally different this year, of course. This is all based, in injuries, off-season, COVID, all last year. You never know. So it could be totally different. But again, reigning champs, all 22 starters back, more time with Brady and receivers, more time with Bruce Arians and Tom Brady. Get the system down. I mean, Tom and Bruce Arians both actually said in an interview recently that they were still figuring out the playbook and calling plays on the field, Tom Brady said, halfway through the season.
Right.
They were still finding the rhythm of how to call plays from sideline to Tom in the middle of the season.
Well, I mean, it was what, week, I think, 9 that the Packers blew them out?
Yeah, and then, they went on that stretch towards the end. They won, 5 out of the last 6.
Mm-hmm.
And they looked dangerous. So, then you get that solidified. That's no longer going to be an issue this year. You give them the second easiest schedule. You give them all the stars back.
Right.
Without any injuries really at all at the end of last year. That is just a setup for a repeat. And I've been saying repeat since they won it, basically. Since the moment they signed all 20 stars, that's a repeat. That's solidified it for me.
I mean, it's really hard to repeat in the NFL. That's why it hasn't happened since the Patriots did it back in 2002 and 2003. Now, it's not necessarily... It's not like the NFL threw them a bone. The most of the games are played on a rotating schedule where you play divisions. You play the East of, let's say they're in the South. They'll play the East and the AFC East. And they'll play the NFC East also, which is what they do. That's what they're doing this year. Well, the AFC East and the NFC East
suck butt.
Yeah, to put it bluntly.
Yeah.
You have the Bills. Obviously, the Bills are great.
Yeah,
that's not gonna change. And Miami is a strong team. They'll good chance to make the playoffs. But then you have the Jets. Dog shit.
Giants. Dog shit.
That ain't the other side. But yes.
But still, they're still facing them. Washington, they go make improvements, but they're not something that can compete with them.
Mm-hmm.
Same with the Cowboys. They're good, not competing on the same level.
Yeah, I mean, and then you have the Patriots also that
not competing on the same level.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what the Patriots can be. They weren't very good last year. They got a lot of guys coming back. We'll get to that. But yeah, then the NFC East, the Washington won that division last year with 7 wins.
Yeah.
So it's not they're just playing poor, awful divisions.
The way it lined up with the divisions they faced this year, coming off the Super Bowl win, coming back with all the starters. You have the greatest QB of all time. You have more time with all the people, the coaching staff, everything. The timing could not have been better. The setup could not be better. And
then they have 6 games against their own division.
Yeah.
Where Atlanta's rebuilding. Well, I should say rebuilding, but we don't know. Atlanta's probably not going to be very good again.
Yeah. Panthers are rebuilding.
We don't know what New Orleans is going to be.
They're rebuilding. I mean,
they lost Drew Brees. They have nowhere Drew Brees. We have no idea how they're going to.
Jameis Winston starting. Is Jason Till starting?
Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill. It's a ridiculous name. Sorry. Like, we don't know what's going to happen there. We don't know what the hell their offense is going to look like at all.
Yeah.
And how it's going to run. So the Bucs kind of solidified those victories for the most part.
Right.
So like I saw that, I was like, holy Jesus.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it lined up well for them this year, so it is what it is. Let's go into one of their games specifically. In Week 4, New England's coming to town.
They get blown out.
No, but that's not the point.
Oh, okay.
Not the point. Bill Belichick is now coming down to Tampa to play Tom Brady.
He still loses.
No, that's fine. Jesus, that's not the point. The point is, this is their first meeting since Tom left. This game, if you try to buy tickets, you're going to spend a small fortune. The cheapest ticket online that you can find right now is $1,400.
Yeah. Oh, I saw one for like $1,500 even.
Oh, yeah, that's the cheapest.
Yeah.
The cheapest. So, I mean, this is a game that, like, people want to see. I'll guarantee it right now. It'll be the most watched game of the season outside of the Super Bowl.
Yo, definitely.
I think it'll even beat the playoffs.
The plus side too is that they're in Florida, and Florida protocols is basically none.
Right.
And so that stadium is going to be 80,000 fans packed.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be massive. There's going to be rumbling in there.
And it's a Sunday night game.
Oh, it's so good.
But of course, how could you not put this on primetime?
Oh yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be great. And also too, that Tom Brady beats Patriots. He'll be one of the only players in NFL history to beat all 32 teams.
Right.
Because it obviously, can't be the Patriots when you play for them for 20 years.
Correct.
I mean, some of you might not know that. I'm just joking. But I'm
taking shots at our fans.
No. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'd be that dumbass that thinks that. So, yeah, when I first went through the strength schedule, I was like, oh, that was like instantly shot off the page.
Yeah, Tampa for sure. Let's jump into a couple other ones. Yeah, just because we're homers. I got to talk about the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Honestly, the beginning of the Seahawks schedule is rough.
It's really rough. The first 7-8 weeks are a lot of good teams and a lot of teams on the road.
Yeah, so they play 3 of their first four on the road. 6 of their first 7 games are against playoff teams from last year. That is not easy. If they can get out of that with a winning record, that's gonna set them up really, really nicely because they end the year pretty comfortable. In the last 5 weeks, they get to play Houston, Chicago, and Detroit.
Yeah, and the last 4 games, 3 of them are at home too. The last 4 weeks. So, I think all 3 of those games are at home actually that you just mentioned.
Houston is in Houston.
That's right.
But it's in Houston, and there's no Deshaun Watson. They might be starting Davis Mills from Stanford. He's a rookie. And they have a rookie head coach. And they have a rookie GM. And they're just a dumpster fire of a team right now.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. I had a thought for a second, but I was going to
So, yeah, as a Seahawks fan, if we can get through the first half of the season, we'll be sitting pretty. But it's not going to be easy. That's for sure.
It's not going to be easy, too. And it's funny that they're actually tied in the 17th right now for ranking for strength schedule at 46%. And so the funny thing is when they come to ranking, they're tied at 17th, right? And they're right in the middle of the pack. The Bucs are at the very end, second easiest. They're at 45%. It's not a huge difference between 15 teams.
Right.
Basically.
It's only a few games is the only difference. So I mean, and if you look the strength schedule, I mean the hardest one is the Steelers, and they're at a 54%.
56.3.
Okay, 56%. I mean, so you're talking about from the
there's a 11-point swing there.
Yeah,
from top to bottom.
So which isn't drastic by any means.
It's not totally insane. So yeah, Seahawks, if they come out, like you said, winning record in the beginning of the first 7-8 games, looking probably pretty good.
Oh, for sure, yeah. That's I would feel great coming out of that. Even with the 4-3 record, I would feel great out of that. If you get 5-2,
even better.
Oh, that'd be huge.
Yeah, some other teams that pop off are the most unfortunate teams. Teams that are wanting to rebuild, got a lot of talent, and they just got smacked with a hard schedule.
Yeah, the Lions are right up there.
Lions, Bengals, Vikings, the Browns, the Texans, Jaguars, the Jets, Chargers. All these teams are trying to either get to the division playoffs, the Browns are in there. All the teams that are even trying to rebuild and get talent are just got smacked with hard schedules.
The Lions for sure. I mean, the Lions I think are the fourth hardest, and they are in a full blown rebuild.
like the worst rebuild in NFL history.
Like it's bad. So, good luck to them.
Yeah.
Anybody who's a Lions fan, or honestly any of the teams that are struggling, like the Bengals also, who also have a really hard schedule.
Yeah.
Good luck to you. I hope you can stay sane this season.
Yeah, because you got teams too. I mean, like the Texans, like we just said, that Houston, they're tied 10th at 51.6%, but they play 7 teams that were above 500 last year.
Right.
Like half the teams they faced were winning record teams last year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like that's horrible to hear.
It really is. Going into let's go to the Steelers, who have the hardest record according to strength of schedule right now. When I was looking at it at their schedule, it's pretty even until the end. The final 6 games is a freaking gauntlet. So they play Baltimore and then Minnesota. Okay, like Minnesota fringe playoff team, whatever. But they get Baltimore, Minnesota, Tennessee, Kansas City, then they end Cleveland and Baltimore.
Yeah, you're playing your last 6 weeks are 5 playoff teams.
Right.
And good playoff teams at that, not wild card teams.
Right. Cleveland, like Baltimore and Cleveland are both going to be really good again.
I mean, yeah, division rivals.
Kansas City's coming off of 2 straight Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Tennessee's been in the playoffs for 3 years right now.
Yeah, they're not a tough out by any means.
Yeah.
Vikings should be fine, but
Yeah, it's just like that is an absolute gauntlet to end the season.
I wonder, are we gonna have a repeat of Steelers? They're gonna go walk into the last 6 weeks at 10-0 and just get wrecked?
Maybe. It could be. I don't know. It's hard to say for sure. That'd be really tough though. I mean, it's not easy. I wouldn't want to see that schedule at the end. I'd much rather start the year hard than the very end when
especially with that team too. It's like not just because Steelers because of Big Ben. Like at week 10, who knows when he's about to get injured? He's injured every single year. He's aging. He's older again. More of course, right? But he gets injured every single year. Like you get into those rough games, especially like the Baltimore game, the Cleveland game, the Baltimore game, where their defensive lines are absolute savages.
Right.
It's like you're just asking for him to get smashed at the end of the year and get hurt going into playoffs.
Yeah, you really are. So hopefully, I hope Big Ben can make it through the whole season. Honestly, I would like to see him not limp into retirement here. Honestly,
I think regardless if he's healthy as he can be this year, when he goes to retirement, he's half broken as it is.
Right. So
that's just the way his career's gone.
Yeah. And then on the flip side, the Ravens, who actually have the second hardest schedule, their final 4 games is also incredibly hard. They have Cincinnati, okay, whatever, we'll think of that, think about them. But they end with Green Bay, the Rams, and Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
In their final 3 other 4 games.
Yeah, that one sucks too.
Those are just rough, man. Those are just, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. The NFL had it out for them a little bit. It seems like.
Yeah, they just really kind of fell into one of those the Bucs got the unfortunate side of who they match up against in divisions, and they got the rough side of it for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And it'd be really rough. The one nice thing the Ravens do have, something that has only happened a couple times in the last 10 years, they at one point in the season they do play 4 straight home games.
Nice.
There is a bye week mixed in there, but they get 4, so they'll get to spend 5 weeks at home as players.
Yeah.
Which that'd be great. That'd be really nice. One of the little quirks to the NFL schedule that we get every year.
The mental boost you get from being at home,
right?
Family, normal routine.
Oh yeah, the stress reliever that you get from being at home is gonna be huge. Not living out of a hotel.
Yeah, it's gonna be huge. So, question for you here, as we're looking over these teams here.
Mm-hmm.
I put out on Twitter a little while ago on a comment of the teams that missed the playoffs that you expect to make playoffs this year. And I put my thoughts out there, but that was my post specifically for our account, right? So out of the teams here, just I'm not going to give you a number of the teams that you're seeing. What team that missed playoffs last year do you think will make playoffs this year?
It's hard to say for sure. There's a lot of the thing about that's weird about this year. There seems to be a lot more good teams in the NFL in the last year, and then coming up this year than we've had. There's not such a top end kind of a drop off. There's a lot of really good teams that are going to be kind of fighting for it. It's going to be hard to say for sure. A couple teams that I would throw up there though that have the best chance. I would say San Francisco, obviously.
Right.
They're coming back healthy. That was their biggest thing. Like they lost everyone on their team. Like damn, it's like they were playing a scout team.
Yeah.
It seemed like last year. So I'd definitely have them. And I'd go probably Miami too. Miami just missed the playoffs last year, but they were a good team. Brian Flores seems to be a hell of a coach, and I think one more, another year just underneath him. Tua is, has another year on his belt,
Right.
full off season to, kind of just learn a little more. They got him more weapons.
Yeah.
So those would be the two teams I would highlight.
Okay. Sorry about that. Word flash. No, I totally agree with you. We said earlier actually before we started recording here that like everybody like the Niners just like disappeared off the face of the earth, even though just because like they were so bad last year. Yeah, but again, injury. It was injury prone. It wasn't because they fell apart.
Right.
They had nobody to play with that they were used to. Like they
All their
came
best
off a
players got
Super
hurt.
Bowl appearance where they were leading in the fourth quarter.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not like they got blown out in the Super Bowl the prior year. They were very competitive up until the last final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, basically.
Yeah.
And then they come in and they get wrecked, short off season, COVID, injuries, they get wrecked. And then everyone's like, oh, they're terrible. No one thinks of the 49ers anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
this is not how this works.
They lost all their best. I mean, very early too. Like George Kittle missed most of the year.
Yeah. Garoppolo missed most of the year.
Yeah. Nick Bosa tore his ACL like week 1.
Yeah.
Solomon Thomas tore his ACL like week 1. Richard Sherman played like a game and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, they missed everybody.
So yeah, that team is not the team of last year.
No.
So yeah, that one's like people just forget about him. It's super interesting to see that team. No one thinks about him anymore.
Because everyone gets so stuck in like the present, what's happening right now, and
Right.
it's like they don't take any context into some of the things that they're thinking. So yeah, I think the Niners are gonna be back to probably in the playoffs, probably even contending for one of the top 2 seeds in the NFC.
Yeah, probably competing for the division title in the West, more
Right.
likely.
As long as they stay healthy.
Yeah.
Which you can say that about a lot of teams, but health is obviously one of the biggest factors to your win-loss record.
Yeah. So the team I said, for my point here, the team I said on Twitter was the Chargers.
Okay.
They were 7-9 last year. Like 6 out of their 9 losses came from single digits. Like the most we've ever seen in history. How their loss margin of points was so small.
They blew like 7 fourth quarter, like double-digit fourth-quarter lead.
Yeah, right. So they fired Anthony Lynn.
Yep.
So you get a new head coach, Justin Herbert's maturing even more. Full offseason, get stars back healthy. Had a great offseason and free agency, great draft.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had them as my pick to make it in.
I can see that. I mean, the offense basically brings back everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And the defense should get a nice kick. Obviously, Derwin James go back, which is huge.
Yeah.
But bringing in, I think Brandon Staley is their new head coach. He was the defensive coordinator for the Rams last year. Mm-hmm. They had the number 1 defense in the league.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stars on the defensive side for the Chargers. They have Joey Bosa, Nick's brother. Derwin James is back. They just have like a lot of solid players.
They have a good core.
And the way that Brandon Staley plays, like even though like Aaron Donald he had last year, obviously, and even though Aaron Donald gets double and triple team, he would still scheme ways open to get him open or into the backfield, right? He's gonna do the same thing with Derwin James, and he's gonna do the same thing with Joey Bosa.
Yeah, he'll find ways to make them disruptive in some sort of way.
Exactly.
Doesn't have to lead to sacks or knockdowns or pressures, but if you disrupt that pocket in any way, it's always you go into the idea of win the play. Mm. You don't need the sack to win the play. You need just a small change of on the offensive side. Whatever you can change, the smallest millimeter counts in football.
Yeah, for sure.
So I picked the Chargers for my personal reference.
I like it.
There.
I like it. I mean, obviously, and they should be able to rack up some easy wins because like their division. I mean, they get to play Las Vegas and Denver twice each.
Yeah, and we can probably say they're more talented across the board than both those teams. Vegas is close, but they're so shaky. You don't know who's going to show up that game.
Right, and who knows? I mean, John Gruden had a terrible offensive had a decent offensive line. It got rid of everyone though.
Yeah.
Like everybody. I don't know what they're doing over there. So we'll see how that is. But yeah, I like the Chargers. That's a team I think could certainly do that. Let's move into. I got one more team I want to bring up.
Let's do it.
In terms of like their schedule, let's go to the team that has the easiest schedule, the Eagles.
Okay.
I don't know. They're like vastly the worst team. They're the only team that's strength schedule is below 450.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 435.
40. It's actually 44.9.
I think it depends on which one you're looking at. The one I have, it shows it lower.
Okay, I got mine straight off NFL.network or NFL.com.
Yeah,
so
that says 430.
Okay. Even so, I mean, they get easiest is easiest at the end of the day.
Right. It's a major difference. It's weird. And like when you look at their schedule, they only play 3 teams that had winning records last year. 3, and they get all 3 of them at home. Not a single one of those games is on the road.
Which funny too. The only other team that has 3 teams above 500 the prior year. The only 2 teams that have that lowest amount. The other team is their division rival, the Cowboys. And one of those teams are again going to be at home.
Yeah, they get all 3 of them at home. It's crazy. They play the Saints, the Bucks, and the Chiefs. Those are the only winning records from last year, and they get them all at home.
Yeah. Well, they're going to get blown out by the 2 of them. The Saints, we don't know. Again,
right.
We'll see how that develops. But the Bucks and Chiefs are going to blow the Eagles out.
Oh yeah, for sure. But that's just crazy.
The luck of the draw, right?
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing we said about the Bucks schedule, like the way the rotating thing happens.
Right.
Yeah, it's just.
I mean, for them, the rebuild though, that's good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You get. I mean, even when you get to those tough games, wherever those tough games are placed out within the week system, it could be week 3. But if those teams are placed towards the end of the week, or end of the season rather, the later half, you have so much time with Jalen Hurts, and the whole offense and the head coach to kind of find a rhythm and start pushing future development more than try to we got to win a game tonight.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, they're gonna. It sets up perfectly for a team that's in a full blown rebuild.
Yeah,
it really does. And on top of that too, they play 2 of those games. The Kansas City and Tampa are all in the first 6 weeks of the season when teams are still trying to figure out what they're doing.
Right.
So even then, if they're at home and maybe they pull off some crazy upset because they're still trying to figure stuff out.
Or you take those losses early in the season, and it's easy to set up momentum and fix that when you get the easy schedules in the later half of the season.
Yep, that could be.
So we'll see. We'll see how Jalen Hurts plays. He's still technically fighting for the number 1 spot. Technically, they still say obviously we expect him to get it, but it's not going to be handed to him by any means.
Right.
So yeah, that's interesting. Like real quick, just because we know the NFC East is so trash, do we expect the Cowboys to win it just because Dak's back?
No, I don't.
Who do you expect to win this?
I like Washington.
You like Washington? Okay.
I think second year under Rivera, they're only going to get better. They'll have better quarterback play this year as a whole because they should have Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, they do.
They should have him the entire season.
Right.
Where last year and honestly Alex Smith played well when he played when they won all their games when he started.
Yeah.
Or they went 5-1, something along those lines. But he didn't play great,
He wasn't putting up numbers.
But they were winning, which is important.
Yeah. But switching back and forth between QB so often through the season makes things tough.
It makes it tough. But yeah, I think one more year underneath them. It's a really young team.
Yeah.
I think they're only gonna get better. So I think Washington wins it.
Okay.
My biggest worry with Dallas. Sure, Dallas has a ton of playmakers and they're gonna be able to score. But how are they gonna stop anybody?
Yeah, the defense is atrocious.
They have 3 linebackers now.
Yeah,
because they got Micah Parsons out of Penn State. So you have 3 really good linebackers, but nothing else, and they can't cover the entire field.
No, they can't. Plus, the offensive line is old and paid heavily.
Yeah, I mean, and they will be having some guys back from injury because that was part of the issue last year with the line.
Yeah,
they had a lot of injuries, but
yeah, Cowboys are one of those teams that they're always just a little bit on the disappointment side, just a little bit. Never fully live up to the potential or play to the potential.
Can we really believe that Dak is not gonna be the guy that he was last year pre-injury right this season? That was a nasty injury, man. It's going to take him. I mean, I know they expect him to be ready to go 100% by training camp, but you can still see a difference. Sure, it's 100% healed, but is he going to have the confidence to plant off of it and all this other stuff?
Yeah, it could be doctor 100% healed, but when it comes to the football play, the mechanics, the mental, of course, that, the mental's gonna be the biggest thing.
Right.
Especially because even though he's experienced in the NFL, he's not a veteran quarterback.
Yeah.
He's not a guy that has 8, 9 starting seasons. He's still, going into year 5? Year 4?
5.
I believe it's 5.
Yeah.
But even then, that's not that much time. In the grand scheme of things, when you're playing guys that have played 10 straight starting seasons, or 11, 12, 13, some of these guys, that's not a lot of time. And when it's your first severe injury of your career, that mental is gonna be hard to overcome. And you're the biggest name brand franchise in the league.
Oh yeah,
worth the most amount of money with the most ridiculous owner in history. There's pressure. There's a ridiculous amount of pressure on the kid.
Oh yeah, there is. So I hope he comes back and plays well. Like that injury was really bad.
Yeah.
I hope he comes back from it just fine. But I think it's gonna be a year before I think he has to get through this entire season still before he's fully back.
Right.
But yeah, I got Washington taking the East.
No.
Just at this moment. By the time I get into actual schedules and whatnot, and give you like a full blown win-loss record on these, just off my gut right now, I lean towards Washington. So
cool.
So I don't have any other teams I want to go over at all for this, but I do have a couple like kind of quirkiness things that happened in the schedule this year.
Quirky.
Yeah, they're quirky. So one of them, this hasn't happened in 30 years in the NFL. The Browns played Baltimore in back-to-back games. There's a bye week in between those.
Yeah, one's away, bye week, and then home, I think.
Yeah.
Or whatever, flip it maybe.
Yeah, whatever maybe. But yeah, Baltimore, bye week, Baltimore. Hasn't happened in 30 years. The last time it happened was between the Chargers and the Seahawks. Back when the Seahawks were in the AFC West, not in the NFC West.
It's ridiculous.
So that's a really cool little thing. On the flip side of that, like that's kind of cool for Cleveland. Like be able to that's a lot of prep time for a team, basically.
Yeah.
Baltimore though, and they're not on a bye week in between those two games. They get to play the Steelers.
That's a shitty 3-game stretch.
Yeah, no kidding, right? The Bears, they don't play a single. They're not at one point in this season do they play back-to-back road games. They alternate all year.
That'd be even more annoying.
Right?
Be home, leave, come back home, leave. Yeah. I'd rather do 4 games on the road instant and then be home. That sounds awful just to be plane ride every 5 days.
Yeah, basically.
That sounds awful.
It does. That actually does. I didn't think about it like that, but that does sound awful.
You're talking practice, 4 straight days of practice, an NFL game, the next day you're on a flight, 4 practice, NFL game, flight.
Right.
You get the one bye week and that's it.
Ugh.
That sounds atrocious. Sorry for the Bears, dude. Holy.
Yeah, that's just ugh. With a side of ugh.
Side of yuck. Damn.
Yeah, so that's really rough. Washington, they finished their season with 5 straight divisional games.
Jesus.
5 straight divisional games. I mean, the NFL loves to put divisional games towards the end of the season.
Yeah, that's normal, but because, 5 straight.
Especially when it's like the top teams that they're probably fighting for. But yeah, 5 straight. Like that, the NFC East will be decided in the last 5 weeks for sure. Then.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can't even give out a proper record until those, or even proper predictions until those games happen.
Yeah, that sucks. The NFL does do that. I mean, for the Seahawks, as fans, we always play the Niners and Cardinals, 2 times in the last 3, 4, 5 weeks.
Yep.
Always, and usually all of them. One of them is always week 17, always or week 18 now. Always the last week. But 5 straight, damn.
That's gonna be brutal.
So I don't know. It's basically for that. It's who can make the better adjustment, head coaching wise. Mm-hmm. If you lose, each of those first 2 games, who can make the adjustment to win the last 3,
right?
And go on to take the division potentially.
Yeah, for sure. And then the other thing about playing division opponents, you don't like them, period. Like you, especially in the NFC East, there's straight animosity between these teams.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. That's gonna be emotionally draining too. Playing those guys over and over and over again.
Especially the winner that comes out of that division, they have to go into playoff, and mentality has to even increase.
Right.
You know how many times have we seen it where the game before the championship game is more meaningful than the championship game because it's that rival, the team you cannot get past, and you finally get past them.
Right.
Or it's a thrilling victory overtime or whatever it might be. There's no more energy. The mental energy's gone to compete that championship.
Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's gonna be just something that's. It's going to show how much metal they have as a team, Luckily, they have a coach that has a lot of metal. Ron Rivera is a
bad motherfucker.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna go that far. I would say He's a tough guy. Tough dude.
Tough guy.
He's a tough guy.
I ain't a PC around here.
Yeah. Honestly, Ron Rivera is like one of two coaches that if I were like in a dark alley, I'd want him next to me. I want him or Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, and there's NFL head coaches, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I want them in my corner if I got in a fight. So, last little tidbit here: New England, they play 3 teams coming off their bye weeks.
Yeah, that sucks.
That really sucks. I mean, that's extra preparedness. I mean,
they come off the. Do we know if any of them are in New England or away?
I didn't look that deeply into it.
Because it didn't even suck if all 3 of those teams were their away games coming off a bye week.
Right.
Holy crap.
But yeah, 3 teams coming off their bye week. That's just that's teams are just doubly prepared for those games. You know,
Yeah.
If you look at almost everybody's record is better coming off their bye week than any
always.
Yeah, it's crazy. On the flip side of that, the Panthers play 0 teams coming off their bye week.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? The more you know.
Right.
It's so those are like the weird little things that come out of the schedule.
Just the most, just again, like the way they format every year, the little just kind of rotations. You just get lucky sometimes, or very unlucky sometimes.
Yeah.
So we got one last segment to hit.
Yeah.
As long as you got any more tidbits or facts.
Oh, yeah, actually, one more off the top of my head
Quirkiness.
that I read. I didn't write it down, but I read this earlier. The Broncos are not playing a Monday Night Football game this year. It's the first time since 1991 that they have not been on Monday Night Football. It was the longest running streak in the NFL.
Well, that's good because they suck. No one wants to watch them.
Right, but they've sucked for a while. They still kept putting them on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, even after Brady, they had Tebow there for a little bit. If you didn't have that, you had Von Miller. Like, he had good attraction.
Right. It's just it's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things like you almost felt like almost every team gets like one Monday night game, right? It almost seems like that every year. Like everybody gets one game.
Or it's one primetime game at least.
Well, that's why they brought up Thursday night games. We had those awful back a few years back when like Tennessee was trash and Jacksonville was trash. They played both their games on Thursday night.
Yeah.
They always seem to put the crappy games Thursday. Now they started to change that finally.
No, there's some great Thursday night games.
Yeah. But when they first came out, it was like, oh, this is a crappy game.
Yeah, some of it's really kind of just go play. Come on now.
It's like,
I need you out of the way so I can focus on the big games.
It's like, you have to have a prime time game, so yeah, take that one.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Right? No one cares. Just go play. Alright, so last little bit here, and we say this for the end because it'll be the shortest segment of all here.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna do a quick recap on UFC 262 that happened this past Saturday, or for us, being yesterday.
Yep.
And we're going to talk just the main two, the co-main event and the main event. The card itself was good, actually. A lot of great stoppages and a lot of great fights, but nothing that really changed divisions or nothing title.
This card wasn't exactly what you would call stacked.
No, it wasn't. There was only the co-main and the main were the only two things that actually changed, either title fight, of course, or had an effect on the division rankings in a severe amount of way.
Right.
So let's start with the co-main. We had Tony Ferguson versus Benil Daryush. And for a lot of people, Tony. The funny thing is, like, you talk about Tony, everybody's like, he's like, we don't like, you need to win this fight to really stay in the UFC. Was kind of the talk. We might talk retirement, but the funny thing is, he's only lost two fights back to back. He lost to Oliveira previously, and he just lost to Daryush. Or 3, excuse me, because he lost to Justin Gaethje as well.
Yeah.
But before those 3 fights, he was the interim champ trying to fight Khabib for the 5th time in a row.
Right.
So it's funny. It's funny you look at him and you're like, oh man, like he just died and his career's over. But like Justin Gaethje took the interim title, was one of the best guys, fought for the title. Oliveira now just is the title holder. Daryush is the only guy he fought that didn't have a huge name to him. That was the top of the division.
Right. I mean, I think part of it, like, I don't know what happened. I mean, in that Gaethje fight, though.
That's a fight that changes careers.
Yeah, I mean, he looked knocked out standing up. Like, he was just eating punches, like, bad, over and over and over again. I mean, it literally looked like Gaethje might have knocked off 10 years off his life in that fight.
And it's not about winning the fight. It's like, I don't want to be broken knee forever either.
Right. I mean, and you could tell he was able to put some weight on it. He wasn't favoring it too much, but it clearly did affect him.
Yeah, it had to have. That dude is literally, I mean, Elko Kui for a reason. He's a goddamn boogeyman. The dude's dead. Benil Daryush called him a zombie. He goes, that guy's a zombie. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that.
Yeah, and Dana White obviously he never answers the questions post fight because it's too quick. But he's obviously of course everybody's like, is Tony done? Are we gonna see him again? What's it like?
Dana White said pre-fight said it was probably gonna be his last fight in the UFC.
That's what we thought too. I mean, I'm assuming that was his last fight on his contract. If not, he might have one more in it. But the way he's lost the last 3, the damage he took from Gaethje, and now he was ranked 5th. He just lost to Daryush, who was ranked 9th. He's dropping pretty far down to even get close to a title fight.
And he Daryush won by unanimous decision, and it really wasn't that close at all.
No, he dominated the whole time.
So
in terms of striking too, actually, the funny thing is that Tony actually outstriked him for significant strikes and total strikes in terms of percentage and lands.
Mm.
But Daryush's ground game, his grappling, his jiu-jitsu was so levels. I mean, takedown, dominance, grappling control, top control.
And even if the punches were landed, they weren't doing damage. Like, he never hurt him once.
No, I mean, the percentages are better, but I mean, he only landed 37 total strikes.
Okay, yeah.
And 15 of them being significant, where Daryush landed 76 and 23 being significant.
Right.
So the total that landed was still lower, just percentage of hit.
Right, percentages can be misleading.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, Daryush was 3 for 6 on takedowns. Top control was 90%.
Yeah.
He was dominant. So yeah, I think Tony's probably done as well in the UFC.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's honestly a legend in the UFC.
Yeah.
He was the top guy for a very long time.
He was a monster. I mean, going into the interim, when he earned the interim belt, he had 10 straight fight wins.
Yeah.
So when he won the Ultimate Fighter going to the UFC, he did not lose until the Gaethje fight.
Yeah.
And then
he's a monster.
He was a monster. I saw a tweet. He's like, I have never been so unprepared to see a UFC fighter's career just dismantle in front of my eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Except for Tony. He's like, he was the one guy I was never prepared to watch his career go down in shambles like that.
Well, you never would have thought that he would but granted, we see this in fighting all that, more often in boxing, where they go fighters always they retire way too late, right? They never retire when they should, and so they end their career with 3 or 4 or 5
embarrassing
fights where you're like, dude, you were getting killed out there. You clearly cannot do this anymore.
Yeah, you're not Rocky. You're not taking punches into the head all for 25 minutes.
Right.
So yeah, I think he's done. Great career, legendary Hall of Fame.
Oh, easy.
Just fan favorite for days. So Daryush is making a name for himself. He's now on 8 straight victories or 9. He's actually won.
He's gonna have a title fight here pretty damn soon.
He'll need one more win. He wants a title eliminator is what he called it.
Mm.
Whether it's a top 5 guy, or he wants to get one of those guys that if he can beat them, puts him okay. Title.
It's I'm next in line to get the title.
Yeah, and he'll probably have to beat a Gaethje is what I'm thinking. Because who knows? Poirier deserves a title shot. So if he beats Conor in July, it's probably Poirier Oliveira. So maybe you do Daryush and Gaethje. Might be a good setup in my mind.
Yeah, I can see that.
That maybe towards the end of the year, but so we'll see.
With that being said, let's move to the main event.
Yeah.
Featuring the newly crowned champion, Oliveira.
Yeah, dude, holy shit, what a fight.
What a great fight.
Dude, that first round was insane. The amount of switches back and forth. Oliveira, I thought he was going to triangle Chandler in the first 2 minutes, and then Chandler thought we knocked him out, and then he didn't.
I mean, at one point, it was crazy. I mean, Chandler caught him early. Yeah. And you're like, oh man, this could be done fast. They get to the ground, and Chandler almost actually beats Oliveira in the guillotine, which is Oliveira's signature move.
Yeah.
He almost beats him that way, gets out of it, and then is absolutely in control until almost the end of the fight. When Chandler crazily spins out, Oliveira's on his back. I'm not sure how Chandler spun out of this, but it was.
I mean, Chandler, he's crazy explosive. I mean, that dude is pure muscle, pure explosiveness. So yeah, he just baited him into the slowest moment and just sat there and waited to explode.
I mean, he basically did a crocodile death roll to get out of that, man.
He did. I mean, Oliveira was sitting there kind of picking his punches, trying to loosen up, trying to get to the neck. And Chandler found his way and just rolled out.
Got him out,
and he's an all-pro wrestler, so I mean it makes total sense.
Yeah, and then towards the end of the first round, Chandler looked like he was gonna knock out Oliveira. Yeah. They got really close, and we're like, oh man, this fight's probably gonna be over in the second round via Chandler knockout.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden,
that left hook Oliveira threw.
There was one left hook, and the whole damn fight changed.
Changed immensely. And everybody was talking about, too, how his striking game had got so much better, which I agreed with. But I never, watched enough tape on him to, really actually see his striking at a real level. But I knew it was decent. Everybody was talking about how much he's increased the last couple fights. But I didn't, no one, there was a perfect left hook counter straight on the chin, right on the button.
Oh, yeah, and then when he was on a knee, he came in and got him a couple more times,
Yeah, chased him down the fence line. I think he hit him with another 3, 4, 5 straight
really
lefts.
good hits, yeah.
It was done. It was absolutely done. I mean, and, Oliveira, the stats-wise, too, funny thing is they threw similar amounts. Chandler threw more, landed only 4 more. Oliveira was 41 for 32 total strikes thrown and landed.
Wow.
78% landed, crazy.
That is precision.
And Chandler was 61 of 36 for 56%, 60% basically.
That's a lot. That's a high connect rate.
And not a lot of thrown, too. You're talking 102 punches thrown together, combined.
Right, well, I mean, a lot of the first round was on the ground.
Yeah, and you're talking, it was only, a 7.5 minute fight in total.
Right.
But that's not
even many. It went 5 minutes and 19 seconds. He knocked him out. Oliveira got the knockout with 19 seconds in the second round.
Oh, so yeah, it was even super, instantly, basically, second round. And significant strides, same thing. I mean, 30 out of 36 of Chandler's was just significant strides. Who would have thought that, right?
Yeah.
He wanted to knock his head off the whole time.
He doesn't know what a jab is.
No. He was throwing haymakers for days. But even Oliveira, he was 24 of 32 out of his total strikes.
That's great.
So, I mean, yeah, it just shows the precision, the increase of skill level, and his stand-up was clean, and he timed that left hook beautifully.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Oliveira, deserving champ. I mean, he won it fair and square. But what I do want to talk about is his reaction after. This is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in the UFC.
Yeah.
He was just so it was so fun loving. It was so much different than you ever see fighters when they first won the belt.
Right.
Sometimes they act all hard and tough but he was just joyful. He jumps the cage and jumps into the stands to be with his people and be with his family and his friends there.
Yeah.
And the ushers are literally having to pull him out of the stands, get him back into the cage, then give him his damn belt.
Yeah. Well, not to even mention too, before he even got to his own fans and his family, he jumped to the broadcast booth with Rogan and DC.
Yeah.
And then jumped to Dana White and thanked him. And then ran off around the broadcast, actually got onto the floor of the arena to go find his friends and family.
Yeah. I mean, it was really cool. It was just his reaction and his attitude to it.
Yeah.
But he definitely seems like a different type of fighter.
It was like a kid on Christmas.
Yeah.
Just running around happy as could be.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, and granted, he clearly seems like that kind of person. I mean, he walks out to the ring with glasses on.
Yeah. Just vibing, having a good time.
Yeah, he's just he doesn't look. He never looks angry.
No, not at all. And I mean, and know what's crazy? He is the longest from first fight in the UFC to title fight, not just winning title, but actually getting into a title fight. Longest ever in UFC history.
He's been in the
28 fights.
He's been in the UFC for 11 years, and this is his first title anything.
28 fights.
Even title attempt.
Yeah, title attempt. Longest in UFC history. And it's insane. I mean, he's on a 10-fight straight victories right now.
Yeah. I mean, he's 31-8. I don't know. It's weird as to why he never got a fight. I mean, 31-8 is a really good record. I'm not sure how did it take this long.
Yeah, his beginning career in the UFC was rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't start off great. Then he just been tearing up the division ever since. The issue is he's in probably the best male division in the UFC, 155.
Yeah. The lightweight division's crazy.
It's stacked in talent, and it's been that way for a very long time.
Oh,
not
yeah,
just recent years.
It's been the division in the UFC for
at least the last 5.
Minimum.
So, yeah, it's not like he's been facing the shit talent. He's been facing high-level guys his entire career.
Yeah, that's true.
So, super good, super awesome to see there. Tidbit, too, here, kind of, you're talking about your little tidbits you had. 4.11 million gate at the arena in Houston. Broke their own arena record.
Damn.
The UFC did. 16,000 people. And because of Tony Ferguson's best line in UFC history, Dana White called it, Dana White privilege here. they did get $75K bonus for performance and fight of the night instead of their normal 50. Dana White press conference was hilarious when he said that. He said 75, and one of the reporters was like, so you did, because Tony brought it up in the pre-fight press conference, because I guess Dana White did it a long time ago when they were in Houston at an event.
Okay.
And he did 75 then too instead of the normal 50. So Tony was like, "Are we gonna get that extra bump again this time around?" And then he said the Dana White privilege, which is the greatest line in history of the UFC. So Dana White did give him the 75 instead of the 50. And then Dana said, he goes, that's the best line I've ever heard. Best ever. That's why I got the bump. He goes, the second greatest I heard was Rampage used to call me must be good to be white, Dana. Rampage Jackson back in the day. And Dana was like, that's the second best line I've ever had.
That sounds like something Rampage would say.
So yeah, like a little extra bonus. Oliveira was one of that got the performance of the night, got the extra $75K.
Naturally.
That of course, right? So yeah, a little tidbit there. So we'll see. Lightweight division is stacked.
More fights to come this summer in the lightweight.
Yeah, I mean we'll obviously have Poirier McGregor trilogy in July.
Yep.
And Dana White again didn't confirm anything on fight night, like which he never does.
Right.
But we assume if Poirier beats him, that was his title fight, but he wanted the money fight, which is Dana White agrees with, no problem.
Right.
But if Poirier wins that, it's got to be Poirier for the title. It has to be.
Yeah.
If it's not, then something went really wrong here.
Yeah, for sure. So
like, Poirier has to retire for him not to get that title fight after this. Like, that makes no sense.
Yeah, for sure. That should be a fun fight too. So, all right, I think that's gonna wrap it up for today.
Yeah, there's a lot more to come. I mean, full NBA breakdown of playoffs next episode.
Yep.
Full prediction. I mean, we have crazy more. We have the fight to the December still going. We're on like week 3 of it.
Right. Yeah, we're still early.
We got a lot to go. I mean, the NFL. We'll do a full breakdown of NFL the closer we get to the start of the season, like we did last year. A lot of things coming up. A lot of sports coming up.
So summer's great for sports.
I gotta love summer.
All right, guys. Until next week. Thanks for hanging out.
Peace out.